Scarred for life by the person she thought was a friend for life. 21-year-old Naomi Oni has undergone a series of skin grafts after acid was thrown over her just over a year ago. You don't see it on the CCTV, but you do see the moments before. Dressed in the niqab she bought for the attack is Naomi's former friend, Mary Conye, walking up the station steps while Naomi walks away, completely unaware of her friend and a grudge about to be settled.
The haunting memory of a woman in a niqab will forever linger in Naomi Oni's mind. It was on December 29th, 2012 that her life changed irrevocably. As she walked home from work, she sensed a figure following her. Her unease turned into fear as she felt the presence drawing closer. And then, without warning, the acid hit her face with searing intensity. Naomi recalls the moment vividly, the cold eyes of the veiled figure staring into hers before the splash of acid and the burning sensation that left her gasping for air. She ran for her life, screaming for help as she reached her front door. It wasn't until her mother opened it that she realized the full extent of her injuries. The media was captivated by this shocking story, an acid attack targeting a young Victoria's Secret sales assistant. But as details emerged, doubts began to surface. Reports revealed that Naomi had researched acid attacks prior to the incident. Was this truly an act of violence or a desperate cry for attention gone wrong? Acid attacks have become increasingly prevalent in recent years, used by criminals for various purposes, including robbery and revenge. From delivery drivers to young club goers, many have fallen victim to this gruesome weapon. But on that fateful night in 2012, as Naomi made her way home from work, just days after Christmas, acid attacks were still considered rare. Little did she know that a black-clad woman was waiting to strike near her Dagenham home. And so begins the investigation into this heinous crime, one that would uncover chilling details about both victim and perpetrator. Was justice served, or was there more to the story? Only time would tell. Welcome to No Tears for Black Girls, a true crime podcast written and produced by award-winning author John Reed Berg. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel and follow us on all social media platforms. You can also download our episodes on the Alive Podcast app or stream them from your preferred platform. Get ready to hold your breath as we dive into the depths of darkness. Let's begin.
My face was black. My eyes were swollen. I was terrified.
This interview was recorded just over a month after the attack. At that time, she was unaware that the person who had done this to her was her friend.
That person failed. Whatever their aim was, they failed. And God has given me a life for a reason. That's what keeps me going.
The fact that the defendant was a friend really adds to the terrible nature of this incident, that someone that you would regard as a friend that could actually do this to you really is very chilling, I think.
Naomi's face still bears the scars of a brutal acid attack 11 years later. In an exclusive interview for a BBC documentary, she recalls the horror of her once beautiful face melting under the corrosive liquid. But despite this traumatic experience, Naomi has found it in her heart to forgive her attacker, a former friend consumed by envy. However, she still views them as callous and vindictive, while her romantic relationships have been affected. Her boyfriend at the time distanced himself during her recovery, revealing his shallow nature. And even after regaining her sight, Naomi had to come to terms with her new reflection and contemplate taking her own life. Swathed in bandages, she also grappled with the mystery of why she was targeted. As the beloved only child of a single mother with albinism, Naomi had never been wayward or troublesome before this senseless attack. But in the end, She chose to survive and use her story to bring awareness to the fatal consequences of acid attacks. Naomi's world was shattered when she became the victim of a vicious attack. She had it all: a loving family, a promising career as a makeup artist, and a devoted boyfriend. But on that fateful night in December 2012, everything changed. As she worked her shift, little did she know that someone was watching her every move. Mary Conye, a supposed friend, had been secretly plotting her downfall for months. As Naomi chatted with her boyfriend on the phone, she suddenly felt a presence looming over her, and before she could even process what was happening, acid was being poured onto her skin. In a state of shock and confusion, she fled to her family, who were horrified at the sight before them. As they raced against time to save her from the devastating effects of sulfuric acid, one question burned in their minds: why? But as the truth unraveled, it became clear that this was not an act of random violence, but a calculated revenge plotted by someone close to Naomi. And from that moment on, life would never be the same for Naomi or her loved ones. The days that followed were a hazy blur. Naomi, heavily medicated with morphine, was transferred from London's Whitechapel Hospital to the specialized burns unit at Broomfield Hospital in Essex. She recalls snippets of conversation about corrosive substances and severe burns while drifting in and out of consciousness. As her sight slowly returned, she saw glimpses of her reflection in her phone and was horrified by the charred, unrecognizable face staring back at her. "No one is ever going to marry me now," she thought. Naomi underwent multiple skin grafts and surgeries to reconstruct her face. She struggled to come to terms with the fact that the perpetrator was someone she had considered a friend, who had even feigned concern after the attack. Looking back, Naomi realizes there were warning signs of Mary's troubled and manipulative nature. But she had always been understanding and forgiving, having also experienced bullying herself. It wasn't until police asked if anyone had threatened to throw acid at her that Naomi remembered Mary's seemingly innocent threat during an argument 2 years prior. She had dismissed it, unable to believe that her friend could be capable of such a heinous act. In February 2013, just a month after the attack, Naomi celebrated her 21st birthday with a small party, a bittersweet reminder of the normal life that was taken from her. Mary arrived at the party in a provocative outfit, flaunting her body shamelessly. It was a direct affront to Naomi, who had requested everyone to be happy and not cry for her on her birthday. However, Mary ignored this request and even wrote a card with the words, "Happy birthday, beautiful," while crying on the arm of Naomi's chair. Little did anyone know, but Scotland Yard's homicide squad was already investigating Mary's involvement in the acid attack on Naomi. Through CCTV footage, they discovered that Mary had carried a handbag identical to the one she brought to her police interview, which was eventually found with traces of sulfuric acid on it. This crucial evidence led to Mary's eventual imprisonment for 12 years. In court, Mary tried to deflect blame by claiming that Naomi had attacked herself for attention and fame. But finally, she confessed to her heinous crime, driven by obsession and jealousy towards Naomi's looks. Despite the physical and emotional scars from the attack, Naomi remains resilient and refuses to let the tragedy define her. She has completed a course in makeup, and although she has faced rejection from many job opportunities, she continues to fight. But even amidst her bravery and determination, there are moments when Naomi feels sad for what could have been if she was never attacked. Looking back at old photos, she sees an innocent girl with big dreams and aspirations for making her family proud. She admits that there are still days when she is unhappy, but she reminds herself that great things can happen too, just like how something catastrophic changed her life in seconds. Naomi also shares that after the attack, she believed no man would ever want her, but now she knows that the right person will see beyond her scars and value her for who she truly is. Her radiant smile speaks volumes of the strength and resilience within her. A woman who knows that whoever marries her will be lucky to have her. Thank you for tuning in to No Tears for Black Girls, now a part of the Alive Podcast Network, the first Black female-owned and operated network dedicated to amplifying Black voices. If you enjoyed this episode, please show your support by following us on the Alive Podcast app, available on both iPhone and Android. You can also stay connected with us on social media and YouTube at No Tears for Black Girls, or on X at No Tears for BG. Remember to stay loved, stay blessed, and stay safe. Until next time.